Hello, everybody. This is CJ Wiley with more adventures on the road. Heading out to a lake here in Louisiana right now, but I've got a good one for you today with Rick Thompson still being the topic. I've had, again, lots of people that remember Rick, and he was so funny. And I wish I could relay. But his sense of humor, I mean, it was more about his delivery. You know, he just deadpanned everything. And so this starts with, I met Strong Arm John and Doug Smith in Quincy, Illinois. And Quincy and Hannibal had a lot of action back then. The first guy that I played when I was 15 in Quincy was a guy named Larry Ferguson. I'd never really bet that high, and I went over with this older man that had a little bit of money. I think we put in $200 a piece and took a shot at this Larry Ferguson and ended up betting $50 a game. And I remember that pretty vividly because that's really the first time that I ever bet what I would have called a significant amount of money. But you got to understand, I mean, I was 15, so this was 1979. So $50 a game then, I don't know what that'd be now. It'd probably be like $200 or $300 a game. So I ended up beating Larry and went on the road with him a little bit too. He took me over to Peoria and Decatur, and I've told some stories about playing over there. But back to Quincy, they had several really good players. T.L. Ferris, I think, was one of the names. I'm a little fuzzy on the exact names, except for Bobby Walker. He was the best player there, and quite honestly, I couldn't beat him when I was like 16 and even 17. I didn't, know the game as well as he did, so I just ran a lot of racks, and I was a great shot maker, but it took me a while to get seasoned to be able to play guys like that because they would outmove me. And of course, we all played two-shot shootout back then. Nobody played one foul. They'd laugh at you if you... I mean, I never even heard of one foul before when I was gambling on the road, except it started showing up in tournaments, just to speed up the game and put more luck in it so they got more participants. But this Bobby Walker beat me on a couple of occasions, and not a lot of money, but one thing I'll always remember is he had his son was named Whitey, and he also played. And back then he must have been 4 foot tall. He's probably 7 or 8 years old, and had like bright white hair. And I still vividly remember him because of that white hair, and he didn't say much. He loved to play pool, so a lot of times he'd just be over there, practicing by himself. And I started out when I was real young too, so I could see that he had a lot of potential, and he did, and ended up actually traveling with Strong Arm John and becoming quite a player himself. Played as good as I did for the money. At the same age. So after talking about Rick Thompson, he actually posted a story on my Facebook, and Strong Arm John had told me about this, but I didn't know the details. So I'm going to relay this story because it's funny and it sums up what I was saying about Rick's dry sense of humor. So they opened up a new pool room in St. Joe, Missouri, and this was opened by Dan Toll, who had the Shooters pool room in Olathe, where I was talking about playing Jimmy Wedge. So it's only probably 50 miles from there, 60 miles, something like that. So anyway, Whitey said, he was with Strong Arm John, and he played Rick Thompson. And like I said, Rick was an endurance player, and you had to beat him, until he couldn't beg, borrow, or steal any more money. And so Whitey said the first time they played, he nicknamed him the White Fang, and he beat him 11 sets ahead, playing 7 games ahead. So he beat him 77 games ahead. I told him, you're trying to one-up me there. I beat him 60 ahead for $1 a game, but he beat him 77 games ahead. So after it was over, he and Strong Arm John kind of felt sorry for Rick a little bit, so they gave him a cue, Josh West cue. And so Rick said, come back in a couple weeks and I'll play you some more. So they went back in a couple weeks. They played again, and Whitey beat him playing 7 ahead sets, beat him another, what did he say, 6 or 5 sets. He beat him another 35 games ahead. And after it was over, he said he'd got a new break cue, so he gave Rick his old break cue. So Rick came up to him close, and he said he thought he was serious, but he should have known better because of, again, Rick's deadpan delivery. So Rick said, he says, you know, all these people around here think I'm crazy, you know, for losing all this money to you. He said, but what they don't know is I'm developing quite a cue collection. He said, but could you do me a favor next time? Could you bring me a case for his cues? Whitey said they played again, and after it was over, and I'd heard Rick say this before, is because playing those long sets, he would just drink beer and he wouldn't eat. He'd drink like Budweiser. He might drink like 30 or 40 of them. So after, I guess, he got beat again, he looked over and he said, I want to play that guy over there eating the cheeseburger. He says, I can beat anybody that eats. Anyway, Rick was quite a character, and I'm sure, there's a lot more stories where that came from. I've got several, but I thought that was a good one to share with you guys today. And that came from my buddy Whitey Walker, who's he owned a pool room. I'm not sure what he's doing. Whitey, let us know what you're doing if you watch this video. Anyway, until next time, the game is teacher.